Hello everyone, this video lecture is on basic mechanical engineering, and in this video I am going to cover concepts related to transmission of motion and power. Now, in case of engineering application, power is to be transmitted from the source to the destination. As you see in the first animation, motor is connected to the driving pulley. Now the power from the motor is transmitted to the driving pulley. So this is the source of the power. Ultimately, this power has to be transmitted to the driven pulley. Now there is very large distance between the driving pulley and the driven pulley. So to transmit the power from one pulley to another, we are using belt drive. Now, as the power is transmitted from driving pulley to driven pulley, this driven pulley will now transmit the power to the object which is to be raised. So this is how power from the source is transmitted to the destination. Now to transmit the power from the source, we have used the mechanical elements like driving pulley, driven pulley and the belts. So transmission of motion and power deals with such mechanical elements. In this second animation, we have seen that a person is driving a bicycle. Now the power has to be transmitted from the foot of the person to that of the back of the wheel. So here effort is applied on this pedal wheel, and as the effort is applied on the pedal wheel, it will transmit the motion to the back side of the wheel. Now to transmit the power from the pedal wheel to the back side of the wheel, we are using mechanical elements like driving sprocket, driven sprocket and chain. So in this case, the power is transmitted from driving sprocket to the driven sprocket with the help of chain drive. So first example is of belt drive and second example is of chain drive. Now driving pulley is that pulley on which the effort is applied, that is, this is the pedal wheel on which the person is applying an effort, so it is considered as driving pulley. And because of this pulley, your back wheel is rotated, so back wheel is considered as driven pulley. And to transmit the power from driving to driven pulley, we are using chain drive. Next animation is of gear drive, in which power is transmitted from one shaft to another shaft with the help of two gears. Now motor will be connected to the single shaft. This shaft is connected to the motor. Now from this motor, the power is transmitted to the next shaft which is parallel to each other. Now this second shaft will be connected to any of the machines which we want to operate. So to transmit the power from the motor to the machine, we are using gear as an element. So this gear is nothing but the power transmitting element. So in this upcoming chapter, we are going to study such mechanical elements which is used to transmit the power. And these are belt drive, chain drive and gear drive. So let's start with this chapter in detail, transmission of motion and power. And in this video, I am going to cover these concepts such as introduction, method of drive, power transmitting elements like shaft, spindle and axle, belt drives, gear drives, types of gears, chain drives and frictional drives. So these four types of drives are very important, that is belt drive, gear drive, chain drive and friction drive. And at the last, I will compare all the three kinds of drives. So let us start. Introduction. The power is required in various workshop operations and electricity is the main source for the machinery. This electricity is converted into the mechanical energy by the means of electrical motor. Machine uses this mechanical energy to perform various kinds of operation. So this is the same animation of the belt drive. In this case, the electrical motor supplies the electrical energy. This electrical energy is converted into the mechanical energy with the rotation of pulley. So this electrical motor rotates the driving pulley. So electrical energy is converted into the mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is used to perform various kinds of operation. Now our main task of this belt drive is to raise this object. That is, we need to raise this object with the help of belt drive. So in this case, power is transmitted from the motor to this object with the help of driving pulley, driven pulley and the belt. As you see in this next animation, power is transmitted from the driver, that is driving sprocket, to the driven sprocket. Sprocket is the pulley which is having teeth. Now in this teeth, chain is fixed. So from A to B, power is getting transmitted. Here the source of the power is at A, that is at the effort which is applied at the pedal wheel. So this is the source of power. From A, the power is transmitted to B with the help of chain drive. Now, drive is an intermediate mechanism which transmits the power or motion from the prime mover or electrical motor to the machine. This electrical motor can also be considered as prime mover, which supplies the power from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. This mechanism which is also used to transmit the required motion and power from one shaft to another, and these are called as mechanical drives. These drives are extensively used in automobiles, workshops, processing and transport industries. Now, why to use the drive? Why we want to use the drive to transmit the motion? First of all, we need to use the drive to vary the speed and torque, or to run the several machines by the single prime mover. Now to understand the first point, consider the figure over here. This figure is of geared cycle. In this geared cycle, you can change this gear which is at the back wheel of the cycle. Now, as you change the gears at the back wheel of the cycle, the speed of the cycle is getting varied. So if you apply same effort at the pedal, effort is same, but if you shift the gears, then at the same effort, you are getting different speed. So this is possible with the help of the chain and the sprocket mechanism. So with the help of the chain and the sprocket mechanism, these are nothing but the mechanical elements. We can vary the speed with the same effort which is applied at the pedal wheel. Now, next we need to use the drive to run several machines by the single prime mover. In this figure, you can say that a single motor is used to operate 3 different kinds of machines. Now, this can be possible with the help of mechanical elements like shaft, pulleys and belt. So with the help of shaft, pulleys and belt, one motor, that is one prime mover, is used to operate more than one machines. Now, mechanical drives are also used to avoid the thrust, shocks, etc. and for the convenience and safety purpose. Methods of drive. There are 2 methods of drive. First is individual drive and second is group drive. In the individual drive, a single motor is connected to single machine. As you see in this figure, there is a single motor which connects with the single machine over here with the help of driving pulley, driven pulley and the belt. So this is called as individual drive. Next is group drive. In this system, a single motor is used to connect more than one machine. So this is only one motor, but there are 3 machines over here. So in this case, this system is used as high powered motor which drives an overhead shaft called as main shaft by the means of chain or belt. So this is the main shaft, and this is a heavy motor which drives more than one machine. Now main shaft runs across the workshop from one end to another end. This main shaft drives the another shaft called as counter shaft. So there are total 3 counter shafts over here which is connected to the machines. Finally, the counter shaft drives the group of machines through belt and pulleys. So this is a comparison of individual drive and group drive. So in individual drive there is a single machine and single motor, and in group drive there is a single motor and more than one machines. Comparison between individual drive and group drive. First point, it is suitable for small size workshops where machines may be moved frequently and machines are scattered over a large area. So when we want to shift the machines frequently, then in that case individual drive is used. Group drive is suitable for medium and large size workshop where machines are scattered over a large area. So for small size workshop, individual drive is used, and for medium and large size workshop, group drive is used. Second point, speed of the machine can be controlled separately. A single motor is connected to the single machine, so we can control the speed of the machine. Whereas in case of group drive, a set of cone pulleys gives wide range of speed. As you see that in the geared cycle, there is a sprocket which is of cone shape. So with the help of cone shape, we can vary the speed of the machine. Third point, individual machine does not affect the other machine when failure of one motor takes place. As one motor is connected with one machine, so if motor fails, then it can affect directly the machine. However, it will affect only to that machine and not to the other machines which are there in the workshop. In this case, if the motor fails, then it can stop the entire group of machine. So if one motor fails, then it can stop the entire group of machines. Fourth point, less power is wasted if less machines is in working. Here, more power is wasted if less machines is running, but more economical when all machines are working in full load. So in this case, here power is wastage if there are more than one machines which are connected to the single motor. So let's say that this is a motor and these are the three machines which is connected to the motor, and if any one of this machine is not operated but two of them are operated, then in that case there is a power loss, and so it is not economical to operate. However, it is economical to operate when all the machines to which this motor is connected are fully operated. Next, high initial capital investment in case of individual drive, whereas in case of group drive, a single motor is used to connect more than one machines, less initial capital investment is required. Next, element of power transmissions. Now, to transmit the power from the source to the destination, we require certain elements. These elements are nuts, bolts, pins, keys and couplings, which are provided to hold the two components of the machine elements together. Also, we require shafts to transmit the power or motion from one place to another place. And this shaft is considered as driving shafts and driven shafts. Driving shafts is the shaft which is connected to the prime mover, and driven shaft is the shaft which is driven because of the driving shaft. So the power will be transmitted from driving shaft to the driven shaft. Next are bells, chains or gears. Any one of these is required as a connector for transmitting the motion and power from driving shaft to the driven shaft. So this point is very important. So these are act as a connector to transmit the motion from driving shaft to the driven shaft. Axles, bearings and brackets are used to support these mechanical elements. Now let's understand various mechanical elements. First is shaft, spindle and axle. Now what is shaft? Shaft is a rotating element which transmits the power. The power is delivered to the shaft by the application of tangential force, and the resultant turning moment set up in the shaft allows the power to transmit from one point to another point. You can see that these are the figures of the shaft which are used in the machines. These shafts are generally of cylindrical shape. So you can say that the shape of the shaft is cylindrical and it is used. However, the cross section area could also be square or hexagonal. Hollow shaft is preferred as compared to that of the solid shaft, as they are 50% lighter in weight as compared to that of the solid shaft for same rigidity and stiffness. So whenever possible, in order to transmit the motion, we are using hollow shaft instead of solid shaft. Axle. Now there is a slight difference between axle and the shaft. An axle is the stationary machine member. Mind well, you have to remember this word, stationary machine member. Whereas shaft is also cylindrical shape, but it is a rotating member. Whereas axle is also of cylindrical shape, but it is a stationary member. It means what? It is not rotated. But anything can be mounted, any machines or something can be mounted on the shaft, on the axle, but that object will be stationary. This axle will be stationary. However, in case of shaft, as the shaft rotates, the elements which is mounted on the shaft will also rotate. So axle is the stationary member which is similar in shape as that of the shaft, and it is used for transmission of bending movements only. Axle simply supports the rotating body such as hoisting drum, car wheel or rope shape. So it is used just as a support, fine, whereas in case of shaft it is used to transmit the power or motion to the car wheel or something which is attached to the shaft. So axle is just a supporting member, whereas shaft is the power transmitting member. They looks very similar to each other. Axle looks similar to that of the shaft, but it does not rotate and it is a stationary member. So these are the figures in which axles are used. This is the figure of a truck and you can see shafts over here and axles over here. So this is an axle which is just used to support the two tires and it does not rotate. It is just as a supporting member. Similarly, this is an axle. These both are the figures of axle. Next is spindle. Spindle is a short shaft. It is a short shaft that provides motion either to the cutting tool or the workpiece such as lathe spindle or drilling machine. So this is specifically used in case of machines such as lathe machines and drilling machines, and it is used to provide motion either to the cutting tool or to the workpiece. Next is types of power transmission. So this is the broad classification of power transmission. The transmission of power is possible by the different ways, but mechanical drives are the most common ways for power transmission. Classification of mechanical drives are as follow: friction drive and positive displacement drive or positive drive. Friction drive is further classified into two parts: direct frictional drive and flexible connection drive. Flexible connection drive is having two parts: belt drive and rope drive, whereas positive drives are having two parts: chain drive and gear drive. Now, what is the difference between frictional drive and positive drive? In case of frictional drive, slip is possible. Slip means what? There is a slip between the pulley and the belt while transmitting the power from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. Whereas in case of positive drive, no chances of slip are there. As you see that in the chain drive and gear drive, the chances of slip is very less or zero in case of chain drive and gear drive. Whereas in case of frictional drive, there are chances of slip between pulley and the belt or between pulley and the rope. Now let us understand belt drive first. As you see in this figure, this is a belt drive. So it is a motor which connects with the driving shaft. So this is a driving shaft or driving pulley, and on this driving shaft driving pulley is attached. So this is a driving pulley. Now on this driving pulley a belt is mounted which also surrounds the driven pulley. Also this driven pulley is attached on the driven shaft, and this driven pulley is used to transmit this motion to the object which is attached over here. Now one important thing to note over here is, as driving pulley, that is this pulley, is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, and because of the rotation of the driving pulley in the anti-clockwise direction, the belt which is at the top is in the tight side. Tight side means what? It is get stretched. So there is a stretching over here. Stretching of the belt takes place at the upper end of the belt because driving pulley pulls the belt in the anti-clockwise direction. So because the driving pulley pulls the belt in the anti-clockwise direction, the belt is getting stretched on the upper end. So that's why upper end is considered as tight side. But when the belt will move on the lower end, this side of the belt is loose as compared to that of the upper end. So this loose end of the belt is considered as slack side. Now the slack side will further move over the driven pulley, and when it moves over the driven pulley it is getting stretched. So stretching takes place, and because of this pull from the driving pulley, this belt is on the tight side. So if you observe carefully between the two elements over here, so gap between two elements is large as compared to that of gap between two elements at the bottom. So that's why the upper end is considered as tight side and lower end is considered as slack side. As you see in this figure, driving pulley and driven pulley. This is a motor. Power is transmitted from the driving pulley to the driven pulley, and this driving pulley is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction. Now, as it moves in the anti-clockwise direction, the upper part is getting tight. So there is a tight side, it will get stretched, whereas there is a loose end of the belt at the bottom, and this loose end is considered as slack side. Now, tension in the belt, there is a force or tensile force in this belt. So this tensile force on the tight side is considered as Ft, and on the slack side it is considered as Fs. Now this tensile force will be greater on the tight side as compared to that of the slack side. So this point is very important in case of belt drive. However, one more point you need to understand is when this driving pulley rotates in the clockwise direction, that is when the rotation is in the clockwise direction, then the lower end is considered as tight side and the upper end will be considered as slack side. Why? Because as the pulley rotates in the clockwise direction, that is in the clockwise direction, then this part is getting stretched and this part is getting loose. So tight side will be at the bottom and slack side will be at the upper end. So tight and slack side depends upon the rotation of the driving shaft. So when the driving shaft rotates in the clockwise direction, lower end is considered as tight side and upper end will be considered as slack side. Now belts or ropes are used to transmit the power from one shaft to another by the means of pulley, which rotates at the same speed or at different speed. The amount of power transmitted depends upon the following factor. Now the power which is to be transmitted from the driving to the driven shaft depends upon the following factor. And these factors are: first, velocity of the belt. So the power which is transmitted from driving to driven belt depends upon the velocity of the belt, tension under which the belt is placed under the pulley. It depends upon the tension in the tight side and the slack side. Also, it depends upon the arc of contact between the belt and the smaller pulley. Arc of contact means what? Arc of contact is the angle by which, this is the angle by which the belt is in contact with respect to that of the pulley. Now this angle is different for the driving pulley and the driven pulley. So if you see that up to this angle, this is the angle theta for which the belt is in contact with respect to that of the pulley. So this is considered as arc of contact. Similarly, for the driving pulley, this is the arc of contact. So this angle by which the driving pulley is in contact with respect to that of the driven pulley, this angle, subtended angle by at the center, is nothing but arc of contact. So power which is to be transmitted also depends upon this arc of contact. Now belt drives are very common drives, and it is used whenever power or rotary motion is required to be transmitted between two parallel shafts. Now types of belt drive. Belt drive are classified into 7 different types. First is open belt drive, second cross, third is quarter turn belt drive, fourth is belt drive with idler pulley, fifth is fast and loose pulley, sixth is cone pulley, and seventh is compound belt drive. Now we will study each of them one by one in detail. Now let us start with the open belt drive. Open belt drive, driving pulley and the driving and driven pulley both rotates in the same direction. As you see that driving pulley rotates in the anti-clockwise direction, then also driven pulley will also rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. So both are rotating in the same direction. Now if we change the rotation of the driving pulley, if the driving pulley rotates in the clockwise direction, then driven pulley will also rotate in the clockwise direction. So in case of the open belt drive, they are used to transmit the power between the two parallel shafts. So this is very important, between two parallel shafts rotating in the same direction. So these 2 points are very important for open belt drive. That is, it is used to connect two parallel shafts rotating in the same direction. In open belt drive, if diameter of the pulley are not same, then angle of contact between the pulleys and the belt are not same. That is, theta 1 and theta 2 are not same. The angle of contact on the smaller pulley theta 2 is less than 180 and on the larger pulley will be greater than 180 degree. What is angle of contact? Angle of contact is nothing but the angle which is made by the pulley over the belt. So up to this angle, if you see that this is the angle which is subtended by the belt and for this angle the belt is in contact with respect to that of the pulley. So the angle subtended by the belt at the center, this angle is considered as, if we measure this angle, right, so this angle is nothing but arc of contact for the driven pulley. And for the driving pulley, this is the angle up to which the belt is in contact with respect to that of the pulley. So this angle when measured at the center, then that angle is nothing but the angle on the smaller pulley, that is driving pulley. Now this angle will be the angle on the smaller pulley theta 2. So this angle on the smaller pulley is theta 2. It will be less than 180 degree, and angle on the larger pulley, that is theta 1, will be greater than 180 degree. So the chances of slip can occur on the smaller pulley. So that's why the smaller pulley is designed, a smaller pulley angle of arc of contact should be taken into consideration for designing of the open belt. Now the angle of contact or arc of contact for the driving pulley and the belt can be given by the formula 2 times cos inverse R1 minus R2 by X. X is the center distance between the two shafts, that is between driving pulley and the driven pulley. R1 and R2 are the radius of the driving pulley and the driven pulley. So theta 2 is the angle of contact for the smaller pulley. Here smaller pulley is the driving pulley. So angle of contact for the driving pulley can be given by this formula. Also we can find out the length of the belt drive which is required to connect the driving pulley and the driven pulley. So if we know the radius of both the pulleys and the center distance between both the pulleys, then we can calculate the length of the belt drive. So length of the belt drive formula is given in the equation 2. Next is cross belt drive. Cross belt drive is used to transmit the shaft which are parallel and they rotates in the opposite direction. So in case of the cross belt drive, driving and driven pulley both rotates in the opposite direction. So let's say that if driving pulley rotates in the clockwise direction, then driven pulley will rotates in the anti-clockwise direction. So both will rotates in the opposite direction. Whereas in case of open belt drive, both were rotating in the same direction. As you see that the belt is in the cross shape. So that's why it is considered as cross belt drive. In this drive, belt crosses each other and hence there can be a chances of wear and tear. So this type of drive should be used for large center distance when the distance between. So this type of drive should be used for the large center distance between the two shafts and for lower speed. In this drive, angle of contact for both the pulleys is same even when diameter of the two pulleys are not same. This angle of contact may be determined by the following equation. So this point is very important. Angle of contact or the arc of contact for the driving pulley and the driven pulley, they both are same even when diameter of the two pulleys are not same. So this point is very important. In case of the open belt drive, theta 1 and theta 2 are not same. For smaller pulley, theta 2 will be less than 90 degree and for larger pulley, theta 1 will be greater than 180 degree. But in the cross belt drive, both are same even though diameter of both the pulleys are not same. Now the arc of contact theta 1 and theta 2, they both are equal. They can be found out from the formula 2 times pi minus cos inverse R1 plus R2 by X. Length of the cross belt required to connect those two pulleys is given by this formula pi times R1 plus R2 plus R1 plus R2 whole square by X plus 2X. X is the center distance between the two pulleys and R1 and R2 are the radius of the two pulleys. Next, quarter ton belt drive. As you see in the figure that this is the shaft which is connected to the motor and hence it is considered as driving shaft. And this is the shaft which is connected to the machine and hence it is considered as driven shaft. Now if you see the location of the driving shaft and the driven shaft, then this shaft is horizontal and this shaft is like in the 90 degree as that of the previous angle, as that of the previous shaft. So it is used to connect the two shafts which are at right angle to each other. So this is the axis of the driver pulley, and this is the axis of the driven pulley. Driver pulley and driven pulley axis of both of them will be at 90 degree with respect to each other. Fine. So quarter-turn belt drive is used to transmit the power between two shafts which are at right angle and rotating in one definite direction. In order to prevent the belt drive from leaving the pulley, the large face width is used. So there is a chances of slip from the slip of the belt from the pulley, and hence to prevent the slip of belt from the pulley, large face width is used. Width of the belt should be kept large. However, when reversible motion is desired, above arrangement can't be possible. So in case of quarter-turn belt drive, guide pulley may be used. Guide pulley is a pulley which guides the belt. Over here you can see the guide pulley in these figures. So guide pulley is used to guide the belt from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. And it also prevents the slippage of the belt from the pulley. So guide pulley is used to guide the belt and also to prevent the slippage of the belt from the pulley. Next, belt drive with the idler pulley. Now, we know that in case of the open belt drive, this is the driving pulley and this is the driven pulley. Now, this side, if the driving pulley rotates in the anti-clockwise direction, then this side is called as tight side, and this side is considered as slack side. Now in the slack side, tension is less as compared to that of the tight side. Now in order to increase the tensile force in this slack side, we can use the idler pulley over here. So as you see in this figure that this idler pulley is attached on the slack side. Mind well, whenever there is a slack side, we need to attach the idler pulley so as to increase the tensile force in the belt. So when the belt drive with the idler pulley is used and the shafts are arranged in the parallel, then and when open belt drive cannot be used due to the small angle of contact with contact on the smaller pulley. So idler pulley is used when open belt drive cannot be used because of small angle of contact on the smaller pulley. So as the angle of contact on the smaller pulley is small, we need to increase the angle of contact over here. To increase the angle of contact on the smaller pulley, idler pulley is used. Idler pulley helps to increase the angle of contact of the belt. So belt tension is increased and drive provides high velocity ratio. Idler pulley drive is also considered as jockey pulley drive. Next, fast and loose pulley. Sometimes it is required to stop the machine. So in order to stop the machine in between the power transmission, what we can do is we can just shift the belt from the fast pulley to the loose pulley. So on the driven shaft, this is the driving shaft and this is the driven shaft. So motor is connected to the driving shaft and power is transmitted from the driving pulley to the driven pulley. And on the driven pulley there are total two pulleys. First is loose pulley and second is fast pulley. When the belt is on the fast pulley, the power will easily transmit from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. However, when the belt shifts to the loose pulley, then there is a loose contact between the belt and the pulley. So because of the loose contact between the belt and the pulley, power won't be able to transmit from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. As you see that these are the two figures, fast and loose pulley. So this figure is not a fast and loose pulley. There is a driving pulley, there is a loose pulley and there is a fast pulley. So when the belt is transmitted from the fast pulley to the loose pulley, there is a loose contact between the belt and the pulley, and because of this no power transmission takes place. And when we want to transmit the power to the machine, we can just shift the belt from the loose pulley to the fast pulley. So fast and loose pulley is used when driving shaft on machine is to be started or stopped whenever desired without stopping the driving shaft. So without stopping the driving shaft, we can start or stop the machine. A pulley which is keyed to the driven shaft is called as fast pulley. In the fast pulley runs with the driving shaft. The loose pulley runs freely over the machine shaft and it is not transmitting the power. When the driven shaft is required to be stopped, the belt is pushed to the loose pulley by the sliding bar having belt fork. So when we don't want to transmit the power, we can just shift the belt from the fast pulley to the loose pulley. Next, step or cone drive. As you see in the figure, this is the figure of step and cone drive. In the step and cone drive, pulley is of cone shape. So you can say that this driving pulley and driven pulley, they are both of cone shape and they are in the form of steps. So these are the two figures. Now belt can be easily be shifted from one step to another step. As the belt will shift from one step to another step, the speed of the driving shaft will vary. So this cone pulley drive is used when different speed is required at the driven shaft while main or driving shaft runs at the constant speed. This is possible by shifting the belt from one part of the step to the another. As we shift the belt from one step to the another step, then because as the diameter of this pulley is changing, and that's why the speed of the belt drive will also change. So this kind of drive is used in case of chain geared cycle. In the case of chain geared cycle, the gear cycle is having a step pulley or step sprocket in which chain shift from one sprocket to the another. So as the chain will shift from one sprocket to the another, we can vary the speed in the case of geared cycle. So this kind of cone pulley is used in the geared cycle, and also it can be used in the belt drive to run the machine at different speeds. Next is compound belt drive. Compound belt drive is used when the distance between the driving shaft and the driven shaft is very large. So in order to connect the driving shaft to the driven shaft of large distance, instead of using single belt, we can use the multiple belt over here. So there are total 2 belts which is used to connect the driving shaft to the driven shaft. So in case of compound belt drive, it is used when the center distance is very large and the power is transmitted from pulley 1 to pulley 4 through the intermediate pulley 2 and 3. And these intermediate pulleys are fixed to the intermediate shaft. So there is an intermediate shaft over here, and on this intermediate shaft there are 2 pulleys, pulley 2 and pulley 3. Now this is the driver on which the motor is attached. This driver will drive this intermediate pulley. So power will transmit from pulley 1 to pulley 2. Now pulley 2 and pulley 3, they both are on same shaft. So as pulley 2 rotates, pulley 3 will also rotate. And as pulley 3 will rotate, it will transmit the power to pulley 4. And so this is how transmission of power takes place from 1 to 4. Types of belt. Different kinds of belts are used to transmit the motion. If the cross-sectional area of the belt is rectangle, it is considered as flat belt. If the cross-sectional area of the belt is of V shape, then it is considered as V belt. And if the cross-sectional area of the belt is circular, it is considered as circular belt. Last is timing belt. Timing belt means what? The shape of the belt is in the form of steps, as you can see in this figure. This kind of timing belts are used so as to provide better grip as compared to that of other types of belt. Comparison between flat belt and V belt. Flat belts are used for moderate power transmission when the distance between two shafts is very large. V belt are used for the high power transmission when the distance between the two shafts is small. In case of flat belt drive, chances of slip is less there is a chances of slip because of less frictional grip between the pulley and the belt, and hence it is not a positive drive. In case of V belt drive, less chances of slip is there because there is a tight frictional grip between the belt and the pulley. So in this case, frictional grip is very good, and so the chances of slip is less. In this case, frictional grip is not good, so chances of slip is more. Flat belt drive requires large space, whereas V belt drive requires less space. Flat belt drive is having high velocity ratio. High velocity ratio cannot be obtained in case of the flat belt drive, whereas in case of the V belt drive, high velocity ratio can be obtained. Velocity ratio means what? Velocity of the driven pulley upon velocity of the driving pulley. So 1 is for driving and 2 is for driven. So we can obtain high velocity ratio with respect to that of the V belt drive. Next, for small value of coefficient of friction, angle of contact and unavailable tension, the power transmission by this belt is less as compared to that of V belt drive. And in this V belt drive, the power transmission is higher as compared to that of the flat drive. Next, materials used for the belt. We can use different kinds of material for the belts like leather, rubber or canvas. Now leather belts are made from the animal skin and they may be used in both dry and wet conditions. Rubber belts are used when the belt are exposed to the damp conditions which consist of certain moisture in the atmosphere. Canvas belts are used when the atmospheric condition affects the leather or the rubber belt. Balata is made from the cotton and the balata gum. So this is a particular type of belt which is made from the balata gum. These belts are acid and waterproof and it is not affected by the animal oils or alkyls. So these are the acid and waterproof belts and they are made from the balata. Next, velocity ratio of the belt. Velocity ratio is defined as the ratio of speed of the driving pulley to the speed of the driven pulley. So you can see that velocity ratio is the speed of the driving pulley upon speed of the driven pulley. Assuming that there is no relative slip between the pulley and the portion of the belt which are in contact, then the speed at every point of the belt will be same. So when there is no slip between the pulley and the belt, then the velocity at each and every point on the belt, it will be same. Now the velocity of the belt can be given by the formula pi d1 n1 and it can be also be given as pi d2 n2. d1 and d2 are the diameter of the driving and the driven pulley. n1 and n2 are the speed, that is rpm, in rotation per minute of driving pulley and the driven pulley. As you can see that motor is connected to the driver pulley. Driver pulley is also considered as driving pulley and the power is transmitted to the driven pulley. The diameter of the driver pulley is 200 mm. Diameter of the driven pulley is 400 mm. Now, as you see that larger the diameter, smaller is the speed. So, speed or RPM of the driven pulley is inversely proportional to the diameter. So, as the diameter is large, speed will be less. In this case, diameter is 200 mm, so speed is 20 rpm. In the later case, the diameter is 400 mm and speed is 10 rpm. So as diameter increases, speed decreases. As we see that d1 n1 will be equal to d2 n2, this was done from the previous formula of the speed of the belt. So speed of the belt is equal to what? Pi d1 n1 is equal to pi d2 n2. So from that we can say that d1 n1 is equal to d2 n2. So n1 by n2 is equal to d2 by t1. So velocity ratio can be considered as diameter of the driving pulley upon diameter of the driven pulley. This formula is very important to consider in order to study the performance of the belt drive. So as you see that if the diameter is more, speed will be less. Next, velocity ratio for the compound belt drive. You can see in this figure that it is a compound belt drive. Motor is connected over here in the driving pulley A. Power will be transmitted from pulley A to pulley B. Now B and C, they are on the same shaft. So as B will rotate, C will also rotate. Now C pulley will transmit the power to the pulley D. D and E pulley are on the same shaft. So as D will rotate, E will also rotate. And also pulley E is connected to the pulley F. So this is how, with the help of this mechanism, power will be transmitted from pulley A to pulley F. Now as two pulleys are on same shaft, their speed will be same. So in this case, NB, RPM of the pulley B will be equal to RPM of the pulley C. For this shaft, speed of the pulley D will be equal to speed of the pulley E. So you need to remember these two things. As they are on the same shaft, their speed will be same. Now we can compare the speed of the driving pulley with the driven pulley, that is between pulley A and pulley B. So let's say that the velocity ratio between pulley A and pulley B can be given as NA by NB is equal to dA by dP. This formula we have already derived in the previous slides. Also, velocity ratio between pulley C and D can be written as NC by ND is equal to DD by DC. So between A and B, this is a velocity ratio. Between C and D, it will be velocity ratio will be NC by ND is equal to DD by DC. And also velocity ratio between pulley E and F will be what? NE by NF is equal to DE by DF. So this is the equation 1, 2 and 3 for the 3 belt drive 1, 2 and 3. So there are 3 belt drives. So corresponding to the 3 belt drives, these are 3 different velocity ratios. Also pulley B and C are on the same shaft. So NB will be equal to NC. D and E are on the same shaft. So ND will be equal to NE. Now using the equation 1, 2 and 3, we can say that NA by NF will be equal to what? NA by NB into NB by NC into NC by ND into ND by NE and to NE by NF. So BB will get cancelled. CC. So derivatively we have written NA by NF in terms of 4 velocity ratios. Sorry, 5 velocity ratios. Now in this equation we have NB is equal to NC and ND will be equal to NE. So finally, we will get NA by NF will be equal to what? DB by DA into DD by DC into DF by DE. Power transmission by the belt drive. The force causing the rotation of the driven pulley is the difference in the tension in the tight side and the slack side. So the force which causes the rotation of the driven pulley is because of the difference in tension. Tensile force between tight side and the slack side, and this tensile difference is nothing but T1 minus T2, and it is driving force for the transmission of power. Now the tension difference is considered as effective pull of the belt. So how much power is transmitted from driving pulley to driven pulley? If you want to find out that power, we can use this formula T1 minus T2 into velocity of the belt upon 60,000. So you will get the power in terms of kilowatt. T1 and T2 are the tension on the slack sides and V is the velocity of the belt in meter per minute. Creep in the belt drive. To understand the creep in detail, you can see a figure over here. In this figure, there is a driving pulley and the driven pulley. Tight side is at the top and slack side is at the bottom. If you see the blue element over here and in this figure blue element over here, then this blue element is stretched. Its length is more as compared to that of the blue element at the bottom. So this is considered as tight side because stretching takes place on the tight side, and this is the slack side because compression will take place or shrinking takes place at the bottom side. So when this blue element will travel and move on the bottom side because the belt is in continuous motion. So when this tight side belt will move to the slack side belt, it will get stretch and compress. Right, from stretching it will get compressed, it will shrink. So this shrinking and the stretching takes place alternatively. Also when the belt moves from the slack side to the tight side, this shrinking of the belt will stretch. So stretching and shrinking over here, stretching and shrinking takes place alternatively over the belt, and when this stretching and shrinking takes place for a longer period of time, the length of the belt will increase, and as the length of the belt will increase, there won't be any proper grip between the driving pulley and the belt. So as the proper grip is not maintained, the drive will fail and it won't be able to transmit the power from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. Now let us study this description in detail. In the belt drive, straight portion of the belt alternatively subjected to the higher and lower tension. So when the belt will move from the tight side to the slack side, it is alternatively subjected to the higher and lower tension. The slack side of the belt having lower tension T2, when it enters into the driven pulley, it is subjected to gradual increase in tension from T2 to T1. This causes the belt to extend. The tight of the belt having higher tension T1, when enters into the driving pulley, subjected to gradual decrease in tension. So if you see that when the belt enters from the tight side to the slack side, the decrease in tension will take place, and when the belt will move from the slack side to the tight side, increase in tension takes place. So as the belt is under the continuous compression and tension, the length of the belt will increase. So the extension of the belt is more than that of the contraction. This alternate extension and contraction lead to the increase in the length of the belt. This statement is very important. And as a result, there is a relative motion between the belt and the pulley surface. This relative motion is considered as creep. So creep in the belt lead to the loss of the power and reduction in velocity ratio. So as the belt will get loose with respect to that of time because of alternate compression and contraction, there is a relative motion between the belt and the pulley. It may happen that the pulley will rotate but the belt will rotate at slower speed. So there is a relative motion between the belt and the pulley, and this relative motion is considered as creep. Creep causes the loss of power and reduction in velocity ratio. So with this slide we have completed belt drive. Next is the gear drives. Gear drive is very important drive in the mechanical transmission element. Gear drive is also considered as positive drive because there is no slip between the driving and the driven shaft. Gear drive are preferred when large or moderate power is to be transmitted at constant velocity ratio. As you can see that there are two gears. Gear A is the driver gear and gear B is the driven gear. Now these two gears will rotate in the opposite direction. So if one rotates in the clockwise direction, second will rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. Advantages of, over here there is a mistake, advantages of gear drive and disadvantages of gear drive. Now what are the advantages of the gear drive? Gear drive are the positive displacement drive. It is very convenient for the small center distance. So gear drives are suitable for very small center distance. In gear drive, velocity ratio will remain constant throughout. It is used for low, medium and high power transmission. High velocity ratio can be possible up to 60:1. Transmission efficiency is very high as compared to that of the belt drive. What are the disadvantages of the belt drive? It is not suitable for the shaft having very large center distance. It requires lubrication. So this gear drive requires lubrication, which is a disadvantage. At very high speed, it produces noise and vibration. Gears can produce noise and vibration at very high speed. Manufacturing of the gear is costly. So gears are costlier as compared to that of the belt drive. Large number of gear wheels in the gear train increases the weight of the machine. So if large number of gears are used in the machine, it can increase the overall weight of the machine. Types of gears. So gears are classified into spur gear, helical gear, rack and pinion gear, bevel gear, worm and wormwheel gear and spiral gear. We will study all these kinds of gears in detail. First is spur gear. In the spur gear, the teeth are parallel to the axis of the wheel as it is seen in the figure. So you can see the animation over here. The teeth are parallel to the axis of the shaft. Spur gear can transmit high power because the contact between the mating gear is along a line. So this contact between the two gears will take place along the single line. Helical gear. You can see the animation of helical gear over here. In this case, the teeth are nothing but this cutting which are inclined to the axis of the shaft. In the spur gear, it was parallel to the axis of the shaft, but in this case, the teeth are crossed or at an angle to the axis of the shaft. Now in helical gear engagement, the gear teeth is gradual. This gradual engagement of the helical gear can cause smooth operation and quiet operation. In helical gears, transmission of the load is gradual, which resulting into the low impact stress and reduction in noise. Thus, they are useful for high power transmission. Only disadvantage of the helical gear is that it induces an axial thrust in one direction of the bearing. So as the helical gears are attached on the shaft, so let's say that these are the two gears which are attached on the shaft, it can produce a force in the axial direction. So because of this axial force, there is a vibration and unbalance in the system. So to overcome this, we are using double helical gears. So double helical gears are such kind of gears in which teeth are in opposite direction. So if these teeth are inclined in the clockwise direction, then the opposite teeth will be arranged in the anti-clockwise direction. So because of this, the axial force will get balanced. These gears are considered as herringbone gears and it is mostly used for heavy machineries. Spiral gear. You can see the figure of spiral gear over here. They are same as the helical gear and it is cut along the helical path. In spiral gear there is a point contact while a curvilinear contact is there in the helical gear. So it looks very similar. The teeth of the spiral and helical gears looks very similar, but in case of the spiral gear there is a point contact, whereas in case of helical gear there is a curvilinear contact. And because of the point contact in the spiral gear, they are more suitable for less power transmission. Spiral gears are used to transmit the power between two non-parallel and non-intersecting shafts. In case of the previous helical gears, these two shafts were parallel to each other. So these two shafts are parallel, whereas in case of the spiral gears, these two shafts are not parallel to each other. So these two shafts are non-parallel and non-intersecting shafts. Next is bevel gear. Bevel gear looks like this. The teeth of the bevel gear are cut on the conical surface. So on the conical surface the teeth are cut. The bevel gears are varying in cross section. So as you see that the cross section of the teeth varies from the inner end to the outer end. So the teeth will vary like this. So there is a less thickness at the inner end and more thickness at the outer end. The axis of two moving gears are inclined in the bevel gears. In most of the cases, two bevel gears have their axis at right angle and are of equal size and they are considered as meter gears. So meter gears are those gears in which the axis of the two shafts are at 90 degree with respect to each other. And there are other kinds of bevel gears in which these axes are at some angle. So this is the first bevel gear and second bevel gear in which axes are at certain angle. So when this angle is 90 degree, it is considered as meter gears. Let us see the animation over here. In this case, the shafts are intersecting. The axis of the shafts are intersecting. And when this axis of the shafts intersect at an angle of 90 degree, they are considered as meter gear. Bevel gears are used for transmitting the power between two shafts when the axis of the two shafts are inclined and intersecting. So the axis of the two shafts are inclined and intersecting. Bevel gears are widely used in case of automobiles. Next, worm and worm wheel. This is the animation of worm and worm wheel over here. There is a small gear and of small diameter and large length of one gear, and second gear is of large diameter. So comparatively very large diameter as compared to that of the first gear. So worm gear drive consists of worm and worm wheel. This is considered as worm wheel and this is considered as worm. A worm has one or more number of helical threads of trapezoidal shape cut on it. A worm wheel is a wheel with the tooth profile consists of smaller segments of helix which engage with the worm. These worm gears are used for transmitting the power between two shafts having their axis at right angle and are non-coplanar. Non-coplanar means what? Their axes are not in same plane. Also, one more important point for the worm and worm wheel is they are used for very high velocity ratio. They are used for very high velocity ratio. Rack and pinion. You can see the figure of rack and pinion over here. Rack is a straight line or gear with the infinite diameter, and pinion is of circular diameter. A rack is a rectangular bar consists of series of straight teeth cut on it. Theoretically, rack is a spur gear of infinite diameter. This rack is in mesh with respect to that of the small gear which is considered as pinion. Now the rack and pinion drive is used to convert rotary motion into linear motion. So whenever rotary motion, this is the rotary motion which is to be converted into the linear motion. So the rotary motion is converted into the linear motion with the help of the rack and pinion. Rack and pinion arrangement is generally used in the machine tools such as lathe, drilling or shaper machine, and it is also used in measuring instruments. So this is the end of types of gears. Now velocity ratio of gear drives. Velocity ratio of the gear drive is defined as the ratio of speed of the driven gear to the speed of the driving gear. Now, if there is a no slip between the pitch diameter of the gears, then the linear speed between the two pitch cylinder is equal. That is, linear speed of the pitch cylinder of the driving gear is equal to linear speed of the pitch cylinder of the driven gear. That is, pi d1 n1 will be equal to pi d2 n2, and n1 by n2 is equal to d2 by d1. Here it is a mistake. N1 by n2 is equal to what? d2 by d1. So in this case, speed is inversely proportional to the diameter of the gear. There is a technical term which can be used in case of gears, which is nothing but pitch. Circular pitch is defined as pi into d1 by t1. T1 is the number of teeths on the gear and d1 is the diameter of the gear. Now, velocity ratio of the gear drive can be written as n1 by n2 is equal to d2 by d1 is equal to t2 by t1. So, velocity ratio is what? RPM of the worm upon RPM of the worm wheel, and it is equal to number of teeths on the worm wheel upon number of teeths on the worm. So the important point to remember over here is speed is inversely proportional to the diameter. N1 by N2 will be equal to d2 by d1 equal to t2 by t1. Chain drive. You can see an animation of chain drive over here. In the belt and rope drive, the velocity ratio does not remain constant, but it varies due to the slip. In case of chain drive, they are positive drives and hence there is no slip and hence the velocity ratio will remain constant. A chain drive is suitable for the small distance and it can be used up to 3 meter. So in chain drive, the chances of slip is very less and hence it are considered as positive displacement drive. Chain drives are used for power transmission in bicycles, motorcycles, rolling mills, agriculture machines, machine tools, conveyors, coal cutters, etc. The chain drive consists of chain, sprockets are the sprockets on which the chain is fitted. So these are the sprockets. These sprockets are teeth wheels in which the endless chain is fitted. So this is the chain drive which is used in the bicycle, which transmit the power from the driver to the driven wheel. Next, types of chains. First is roller chain. So this is the roller chain over here. In the roller chain, it will look like this, like a rollers between the two sprockets, between these two links. Animation of roller chain is given. Second is bush pin type chain, bush chain. Bush chain, this was roller chain. In the bush chain, there is a bush which reduces the friction between the linkages. Next is the silent chain. This is the silent chain which is used for the silent operation and it will look like this. Velocity ratio in the chain drive. It is defined as the speed of the driving sprocket to the speed of the driven sprocket. Velocity ratio is same for all the three kinds of drive, whether it could be belt, chain or gear drive. As there is no slip between the chain and the sprocket, the speed at every point of the chain is same. That is, linear speed of the chain is equal to circumferential speed of the driving sprocket is equal to circumferential speed of the driven sprocket, and it can be written as pi d1 n1 is equal to pi d2 n2. If p is the pitch of the teeth of the sprocket, what is pitch? Pitch is between the distance between the two links. So let's say that these are the 2 points over here. So the distance between the two links over here is nothing but the pitch. Fine. Now pi d1 can be written as p into t1 and pi d2 can be written as p into d2. So comparing the equation 1 and equation 2, pi d is replaced with p t1. So finally you will get equation as p t1 n1 is equal to p t2 n2, and therefore velocity ratio can be written as n1 by n2 is equal to t2 by t1. Advantages of chain drive: it is non-slip drive, that is positive drive. Efficiency is very high, up to 99%, which is very good. It is useful for shaft which are at small and medium center distance. It can transmit high power as compared to that of the belt drive. It occupies less space and more compact as compared to that of the belt drive. Disadvantage: the operation is noisy, initial cost is very high, and hence therefore it requires more lubrication. Frictional drive. So this is the last drive. In case of frictional drive, the power is transmitted from the driving shaft to the driven shaft with the help of friction between the two elements. As you see in the figure that the disc is in contact just because of the friction, and power is transmitted from driving shaft to the driven shaft. It is just used only for the light load transmission between the parallel shaft or intersecting shaft. The frictional drive consists of two wheels which are considered as frictional surface. The driving and driven wheels are in contact with the sufficient pressure between them. So driving and driven wheel is connected with the sufficient pressure between them. Now the driving wheel drives the driven wheel by the virtue of the friction between the driving and driven wheel. Now friction wheels does not gives a positive drive, and hence slip occurs for the large power transmission. So transmission slip are there is the chances of slip for the large power transmission. Now if there is no slip, the surface speed of both the wheel becomes equal. Now if there is no slip, then we can say that pi d1 n1 will be equal to pi d2 n2. In that case, velocity ratio becomes n1 by n2 is equal to d2 by d1. But this is very rare in case of frictional drive, because in frictional drive there are very high chances of slip. Now this slide contains comparison of belt, chain and gear drive. Main elements in belt drive is pulley and belt. For chain drive it is sprocket and chain, and for gear drive it is gear. Slip, in belt drive slip may occur, in chain drive there is no slip, and in gear drive also there is no slip. Suitability, belt drive is suitable for large center distance, chain drive is used for moderate center distance, and gear drive is used for short center distance. Space requirement for the belt drive is large, for chain drive it is moderate, and for gear drive it is less. Design is simple for the belt drive and chain drive, but it is complicated for the gear drive. It is very complicated to design the gears. Failure of the belt does not cause the further damage of the machine. In the chain drive, failure of the chain may seriously damage the machine. Because belt can easily be replaced, so failure does not cause this damage to the machine. However, failure of the gear may cause serious breakdown in the machine. As gear will break, machine won't work at all. Life for belt drive, life is less. For chain drive it is moderate, and for gear drive the life is very long. Next, lubrication. Belt drive does not require lubrication, chain drive requires lubrication, and gear drive also requires lubrication. Installation cost is less for the belt drive, it is moderate for the chain drive, and more for the gear drive. Use: belt drives are used for the low velocity ratio, chain drive is used for moderate velocity ratio, and gear drive is used for the high velocity ratio. Example for the belt drive, it is used as first drive in the transmission. Chain drive is used in bicycle and automobiles, and gear drives are also used in gearbox and automobile. So this is the end of chapter 12 of basic mechanical engineering, that is transmission of motion and power. So if you have liked this video, then please share it with your friends and also subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching.